Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sitting here and I'm trying to get a picture of everyone in the room, and it's so quiet. And I was wondering to myself, I can't believe these are the people who just received their matric results yesterday. I think it will be very appropriate for us just to say congratulations to all of those who has joined this afternoon. Congratulations on passing your matric. If you are one of the matriculants who just passed, and to the parents who supported you over the last 12 years of your life, I suppose, also well done on helping your young people to reach this stage of their journey in life as well. So I'm going to ask our team just to give a nice warm round of applause to all our people in the room and say, well done, we salute you, and we're proud of your achievement indeed as well. My name is Kevin Henderson, and I am the proposal and design specialist within our team open enrollment at Stellenbosch Business School. And so on behalf of our CEO, our Senior Director, Professor Chris van der Wiffen, we want to say hearty welcome and so glad that you can make it this afternoon just to invest 45 minutes to an hour of your time in trying to help you see what other alternatives there are for your young people than having to go back to university, a full-time university, but just maybe some other options that your young people can consider as well. A couple of just sort of guidelines as we try and journey through this afternoon. Like I said, I will be your captain or piloting you as we go about this afternoon. So I think I've just said welcome to you, but I will introduce our team very shortly. But just in terms of the agenda, please, what we're going to be covering is after the welcome, I'll be talking about the program, giving you an overview of what one can expect. Then I will hand over to our channel director, Mrs. Claire Kelly, who will then talk to you about the program calendar and some other practical issues, as well as dealing with frequently asked questions so that those can also be answered. And then right at the end, say from about 5:15, we'll have an open mic or open session where you can ask your questions. However, please do not only wait until the end of the session to ask your questions. As we are progressing through this afternoon, you are more than welcome to just post your questions in the chat. That will also help some of my colleagues who will keep an eye on it to just answer some of the questions that can be answered before the time. But don't worry, if your question wasn't answered, we will come back to that at the end of the afternoon to ensure that your question is then also answered as well. We also would like to ask you if during the session, if you can keep your microphones just on mute. That just helps us to get through the program with very little incident so that we don't waste some of your time, but we get through the afternoon, because we know it's been the first day. Maybe you have some youngsters who are still in school and they've come back from school and you want to hear how the first day was, and you need to spend time there as well. So we don't want to hold you back for too long, but we want to get through this as efficiently as we possibly can. Having said all of that, I think it's a good idea for me to start introducing our team. So you will find them if you go onto the screen. You'll see some of these faces live at the moment in the screen, but just so that you know who's, as people would say, who's who in the zoo. We have Samantha Abrahams, who is the program manager, and Samantha is taking a very important role in this program, as she is the one person that from an administrative point of view will be dealing with your young people, and mostly you as well, with regards to the program. So everything around the program in terms of class times, in terms of venue, where we are at, etc., all of that will be handled by Samantha. If they need any information, they can just contact Samantha as well. I'm going to take this opportunity also just to say, Samantha, you have a lovely hairstyle this afternoon. Thank you for going through all of that. for this afternoon as well. And then next to Samantha, I have Charmaine Mitchell, who is our client relations person. Charmaine deals in the background with our customers, our clients, with some issues around academic support, but also in terms of just making sure that we sort of provide feedback, etc., when there are difficulties as well. I'll keep that person for last. You find myself, Kevin, who is the proposal and design specialist. And what that simply translates to in a very common translation is the fact that I have responsibility for the design of the program. So all the content being disseminated and all the modules being offered and the activities being offered is part of what I am responsible for. And then next to me is Amira Lewis, who is the program administrator. So Amira, for now, has been assisting us with receiving those applications, helping us to sort of process them. And you'll see later on, we try and at least give you an answer with your application within about 24 to 48 hours. And Amira is instrumental in ensuring that we stick to that turnaround time as well. The person in the middle is our channel director, and she's Claire Kelly. You will hear from her later in the afternoon when I hand over to her to just do some other sharing of information with you. But she is the person holding this team together, and we just want to acknowledge her as well as we're starting 2026 with a huge bang. And hopefully, as we progress with the Young Minds program, you'll get to learn to know more of her, but more importantly, more of the team as well. Now, these people that I've referred to in this slide are the people that plays a role in the program. And so our role is mostly in the background, even though from my side, I get involved in facilitating some lectures, etc., as I'm also working as a clinical psychologist. And so therefore, I do some of the assessments, but also facilitating in some of the modules as well. But a very important person that your learners will get to know exceptionally well would be our learning process facilitator, who is Dr. JP Cronje. JP is an executive coach, and JP has been working on the Young Minds program for a number of years. But for the last 4 years about, JP has been acting as the learning process facilitator, which is a role that means that he's in the class with the young people every step of the way. In fact, for many different modules, there will be different faculty coming in. But on that specific day, when there's a faculty member facilitating, JP will be the person who will journey with your young people. And his interest is in learning. His interest is in helping the young people, not to disseminate knowledge, but really to showcase what they've learned. In other words, how have they taken the information they've acquired and translated it into a change in the behavior that I'm sure you as parents and you as young people would love to see as well. And I was wondering, before we continue with the program, if I can't give JP just a minute to say good afternoon and maybe just also share some quick hello to the parents and the prospective students as well. JP, over to you.
Great. Thanks a lot, Kevin, for the introduction. Yeah, I think into the parents, congratulations with the matric results. I know it's a seminal event, not only for the parents, but in the family. So congratulations. And also, I think it's quite an exciting opportunity in terms of the next step in your sons and daughters' journey through life. We're excited and privileged to receive them on the program. And we expect it's quite a big responsibility that you entrust us with. And I'm going to give you the reassurance that we obviously treat it accordingly. As Kevin said, my role is a learning process facilitator. So I'm in the class every day with the students. I do get them to know them obviously a bit better than the faculty, as Kevin said. And I think a unique feature of the program is, and Kevin will elaborate on the structure, but I think it's important to understand that the students joining Young Minds, each of them come for a different reason, and they've got different outcomes that they want from the program. And we try to really, I wouldn't say accommodate them accordingly, but I'm very aware that, if you've got 70 or 80, 90 students, and all of them have a different story and a different reason for being there. And we try to accommodate them accordingly. And I think the ultimate rule or the goal that we aim to do is upliftment, development, and education. And that's the broad approach we take. And I think Kevin will elaborate. My role is to make sure that I create the maximum learning opportunity for them and support them to achieve that. So I'm quite always very excited and very privileged to accept the responsibility of guiding your sons and daughters through the year on the Young Minds program, and looking forward to meeting them. Oh, 9th of March, I think. Yeah, looking forward to that as well. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you, JP, and thank you for always supporting this program in the manner that you do, because it's just an evidence of the fact that you believe in the young people of South Africa and therefore want to see them succeed as well. While my colleagues are just bringing up the slide deck, I thought to myself, I quickly just want to sort of share a short story, and it's something that I think is very important to realize in terms of what it is that we're trying to achieve at the Young Minds. Before I do that, though, I think maybe just to contextualize where we are in terms of where is this program situated within Stellenbosch University. As many of you would be aware, that Stellenbosch University have different campuses, and which we regard as satellite campuses. And we are part and parcel of the business school, which is a satellite campus of the university. But at the business school, we have two divisions. The one division is responsible for degree programs, or let me rather say postgraduate programs. In other words, after the first degree, so MBAs and PhDs and all of those kind of things. But also in the business school, we have the division which is responsible for developing short courses. And short courses would be typical courses that's designed to be 12 months and less. And we are known as Stellenbosch Business School Executive Development. And so this program with the Young Minds is not a formal degree program, but what it is a program that's regarded as a short program. So it has all the sort of proper rigor of the program sits there, because our program is quality assured by the business school, but it doesn't give the youngster a formal qualification, but it gives the youngster a certificate of competence at successful completion of the program. Having said that, then, I think let's get into what the Young Minds program is. So the Young Minds program is a 9-month career-focused gap year program for school leavers. I have two things that I want to emphasize there. I think it's quite significant that we play with the name on the 9 months, because that's kind of when we think of human beings, and when there's a pregnancy, that's usually the duration of a pregnancy. And for me, that's kind of significant about what happens in the Young Mind program. The youngster come into a program, and for 9 months, they become pregnant with the potential, with the opportunity that exists after that. And at the end of the program, when they do their final presentations, that the birth of the person is there. I like to call to the youngsters, you've entered, and let's say the name is Kevin, you've entered as the Kevin version 1.0. And when you leave at the end of the 9 months, you leave with the Kevin version 2.0, which is someone who's developed, who's grown into the world as well. So that's the first part. The other part that we mustn't forget, even though we say it's career focused, which means we want to help young people achieve what they or discover what they would like to do with the rest of their lives, we mustn't forget that for most of these youngsters, they still regard this as a gap year. So in as much as we want to make certain that it's structured, that they attend class, and there's also a sense of competence, what they must achieve, we shouldn't forget that for many of these youngsters, they're coming onto the program because they didn't feel ready to go into full-time university study or tertiary studies as yet. Not meaning that never, but as yet. And so therefore, we like to define the program as a structured personal development program, which we call like a gap year for young adults or school leavers who are not sure what they want to do with their lives or career yet. Now, I said earlier on, I want to share this little story. It's a story that I call my duck story. So there was this old man who's sitting on the side of the road, and he's carving like ducks out of a piece of wood, with his knife, carving knife. And the young boy is asking him, he said, "Uncle, can you tell me, is it difficult to make a duck? And the uncle says, no, it's not. It's actually quite easy. He says, okay, can you explain to me how to make this duck? And the uncle says, you take a piece of wood, and he says, and then there's the most difficult thing to do, because you have to decide what you're going to make with this wood. Now, I'm not suggesting that the young people's lives is a piece of wood. I'm suggesting that they have their lives in their hands now, and they must decide what they're going to do with their lives. And the boy says, yeah, so why do you say it's difficult to decide? And the uncle says to him, because there's so many options. There's such a lot of things that you can do. He says, but once you've decided that you're going to make a duck, he says, then it's very easy. He says, okay, so tell me, why is it suddenly easy? And the uncle says to him, because all that you have to do now is you have to cut away that which is not duck. You have to cut away that which is not duck. And so in the Young Minds program, what we're trying to help our youngsters to get to is not to sort of obsessively know what they want to do with the rest of their lives, but to get an idea of what is their life going to be about, and then helping them to develop skills and abilities and competencies that they either must build on or get rid of, so that they can be that which they so desperately destined to want to be. And that, if you ask me, what is it that we're trying to achieve with the Young Minds? That's exactly what we would like to achieve with the Young Minds. If we can go to the next slide. So the program is then, I've indicated earlier on that the program sits on in the business school, which is not on the main campus. But the Young Minds program, even though it is situated within the business school, we offer the program on our main campus in Stellenbosch. And so the room or the venue that we use is known as the Fear Hall, which will be within the Nielsie, the student center of Stellenbosch University as well. The program will run from the 9th of March until the 4th of November, where they will do all their final presentations as well during that time. So important to know that we will not be on the Bell Park campus, but we will be on the Stellenbosch main campus, and the venue will be the Fear Hall. But as the learner has become part of the program, they will get the necessary information to sort of direct them where they need to report for the first day as well. I've mentioned earlier on that the program is a 9-month program, which is offered over that period. Important to note that the program is predominantly offered face-to-face. In other words, all classes must be attended in person, so all classroom sessions, but there are some remote sessions that also happens. The remote sessions will be the sessions where the students are meeting with the learning process facilitator, with JP, on a one-on-one, and also when they meet with their coaches for their one-on-one sessions as well. However, all other sessions will be in person. In other words, they have to physically attend the classroom session as well. So that much about the program in terms of the important delivery mode, which is in person. The program has been running for 16 years. So you can imagine that we've had more than about 1,400 alumni. In other words, people that has completed the program before this current cohort that we will take in for 2026. So the success of the program has been that every year we've had students that can come back and testify about what the program has done for them as well. More importantly, though, I've mentioned earlier on that the program, in terms of its design, is quality assured by the business school. But very importantly, when your youngster leave the program, they will get a certificate from Stellenbosch University, a certificate of competence, saying that they have successfully completed the Young Mind program as well. The program has been quite popular, and even though the program doesn't lead to entry into university at Stellenbosch University, the Stellenbosch University Career Services highly recommend the program to those students who are unsure about which degree program they need to follow as well. I've mentioned that it is a structured personal development program, and we have a very strong developmental approach in the design of the program. In other words, for us, it's about how are we developing this youngster rather than having a punitive approach. And having said that, it doesn't mean that there are no sort of requirements for the program, but we want to develop them, and that's our approach in everything that we do. The program provides flexibility with the option of exposing the youngsters to real world scenarios as well. And so what I mean by that is the program is designed in such a way that they will have a certain number of days that they attend class, but there's enough time for them to explore other opportunities, for them to, for example, go and do a part-time job where they can gain experience in stuff that they are considering for their possible careers as well. We focus on a holistic self-discovery of the youngster, and we, like I've just mentioned, insist on their real-world exploration. So we want the youngsters to not only focus on the days that they are in class, which is usually only 3 days per week, but we create those other 2 days, which is outside of classroom, where it's going to be self-directed exploration. And when they come to us for support, we can help guide them, but we want them to sort of expose themselves to other opportunities so that they can learn from that as well. The program aims to align the talents that the youngster have with their interests and the opportunities that exist, but also more importantly, how can they create their own opportunities out there as well. So there's enough free time, as I've already mentioned, and that free time is not only for work, but they can also use that to engage in other activities. But very importantly, we expect that the youngster must take ownership and accountability. Now we know that for many of you as the parents, your youngster is only 18 years old, they're probably turning 19. There's a lot of anxiety around that. So we want to take hands with the parents, but we need to also just understand that as we're taking hands to help this youngster to develop a sense of autonomy, we need to also to learn and sort of, with the safety net, allow them to make their mistakes and allow them to suffer consequences, because that's the only way that they are going to learn to take ownership and accountability. I've mentioned just now, we're not going to expect of them to take ownership without providing enough support, without providing sufficient guidance, and without providing a safety net. Hence, we have the one person who get to know them intimately, who get to know them, their likes, their dislikes, their strengths, their weaknesses, who get to know them as how they show up in class with the learning process facilitated. And in conjunction with that, we also make sure that the youngster will have at least 5 coaching sessions with a professional coach to help them and create that safety net as well. So what is the aim of the program? I've told you the story. So how do we structure that? So the aim of the program is to help this person create the sense of direction, a sense of meaning, but also creating opportunity. And we do that in a structured personal format where they will get to know themselves better. They will learn to match their talents and opportunities, but they will also have the opportunity to explore the real world of work as well. I want to highlight, in doing that, in succeeding in this, they won't be leaving with a formal qualification, but like I've mentioned before, they will leave with a certificate of competence issued by Stellenbosch University as well. So what do we mean by what kind of person should leave? So when I say they would create direction, meaning, and opportunity, the kind of person we're hoping will leave the program will be someone that we regard as an empowered individual. And so in terms of that structure, we want to develop them holistically on 3 learning areas. One, around personal mastery, which is the art of creating a life of fulfillment, business acumen, which is the art of creating value and profit, and then entrepreneurial thinking. I'm almost hasting in saying we don't want to make them necessarily an entrepreneur, but we want to develop that kind of thinking, which is the art of creating opportunities for self. I think gone are the days where you can depend on the government to give you a job, or you can depend on corporates to give you a job. But some of the youngsters will get those kind of jobs, but they also need to be able to sustain themselves, to develop entrepreneurial thinking so that they can create their own opportunities as well. And so what do we mean with an empowered individual? We're hoping that through the facilitation of different modules within these 3 learning areas, that the individual will develop a personal vision, they will develop a sense of an internal or high internal locus of control, they'll improve their self-confidence, they'll develop entrepreneurial thinking with business acumen whilst maintaining a balanced lifestyle. And that is what we regard as an empowered individual, because then they are able to make their own decisions, but more importantly, be accountable to themselves and also to their support network around them as well. So we have this holistic development approach, but our teaching approach is that we have a dual pathway approach in terms of teaching. So we have theory and practice. So for 3 days a week, they will have classroom-driven instruction where there will be the different frame of references, the different frameworks will be offered. But we also expect on the other 2 days of the week that they will apply what they've learned in self-organized projects with the guidance of the learning process facilitator as well. So on those days, there won't be formal classes, but that will be dependent on the individual, how much they want to access the faculty, how much they want to access the learning process facilitator, how much they want to access the coaches to help them sort of journey and developing that personal vision, developing that internal locus of control, and improving their self-confidence as well. So on any given day, they will have 3 days of class, and then the other 2 days of the week will be available for them to access lecturers, to access the LPF, but also their coaches as well. But more importantly, we are hoping that they will use that time to really explore other opportunities for them as well. The list that you see in this slide is merely just what are the kind of activities and modules that we're dealing with over that period of time. We give them some academic writing skills, which is something that we've added last year with e-commerce as a module for the first time. In addition to that, they'll spend some time dealing with financial management. They'll look at marketing, people management, and team dynamics. They'll look at thinking and paradigms. They're focusing on neuro leadership, the entrepreneurial process. They're looking at operations and planning and project management, career planning and project management. They focus on economics, emotional intelligence, self-leadership. They have workshops on innovation, and they also focus on how do they do presentations, because at the end of the year, they will do 2 presentations. They will have to present an individual presentation, which is their life plan presentation. And at the end of the year, they will also do a final group presentation, which is the business challenges that they will be dealing with as well. Now, in the past, up till last year, they had one group project that was offered right throughout the year. What we are changing this year is to divide them into 2 different groups. So the first semester, they will be with one group. And the nature of that is they begin to learn to work with one another. But the world that we're working in changes all the time. And so they will have a project that they will have to complete by the end of the first semester. But at the start of the second semester, they will be put into different groups so that they can learn to know more people, so that they can learn to work with other people who were different from them, because that's the real world that they will be exposed to when they go into the real world out there as well. So the big difference for 2026 will be that instead of the one group project, they will be exposed to 2 different projects as well. If I may just ask that person to mute, who just unmuted, if you can just mute yourself as well. Right. So those are, ladies and gentlemen, are the modules they will be covering, and some of the activities that they will be doing as well. If I may have the next slide, please. I mentioned earlier on that we will bring or help them to explore and discover themselves, get to know themselves better. One way in which we were doing this tool, for many of you is familiar, it's called the Johari window. And what we're saying here is that there are some stuff that youngsters know about themselves, but there are some stuff that also other people know about themselves right now. So they're teachers and you as parents, and we call that the public side. But there's also some stuff that they don't know about themselves, but other people know about themselves. And we call that the blind side. And there are also some stuff that they know about themselves that the rest of us don't know. We call that the private side. But there's also the stuff that other people don't know about them, but they also don't know that about themselves. We call that the hidden potential. So what we're going to try and do in having to learn more about themselves is the fact that they will increase their public side by reducing the blind side, reducing the hidden side, and also reducing the private side. Now, the private side, how can one reduce the private side? That would be the self-disclosure. So we want to give them the confidence that they can share more about themselves with other people. How do they reduce the blind side? That's when they get feedback. Because there's some stuff that they don't know, but I'm looking at them and I can see certain things. And unless I give them that feedback, they can't increase their knowledge about themselves. So we help them to give feedback to one another, but we also help them to learn how do you appropriately self-disclose as well. Now, that hidden side is the one where the coaching comes in. So the hidden side during the coaching sessions will be stuff that their coach wouldn't have known about them, and they wouldn't have known about themselves. But through the coaching process, they are discovering things more about themselves. And so, ladies and gentlemen, what we want to really achieve then is for them to increase the public side by reducing the blind side, hidden potential, as well as the private. Oh, by the way, these other sides will never disappear, because it is important for people to know that there are some stuff that is just private. It's not necessary for other people to know them, but we help them to understand why that helps in setting good boundaries and proper boundaries, so that they can protect themselves as well. Thank you, Chanel. So in the program, we will be doing, they will start out in the year, early in the year. They will do a psychometric assessment, which is the Strength Finder. I will facilitate that and help them to complete that. The knowledge and the information gained from that will be used to put them into syndicate teams, and our learning process facilitator to do that, because there's a lot of group work that they also have to do as well. We also expect of our learners to be assessed. So we will do continuous assessment. So they will do some assignments. They will have to do some report writing, but more importantly, they will also do some exams. There will be an exam in June, and there will also be an exam at the end of the year as well. We also expect of them to do some job shadowing, and during the first week of orientation, they'll get all the information around why that is important and how they must go about that as well. And then last but not least, I've sort of referred to it on more than one occasion, that each learner or each student it's compulsory for them to at least have a minimum of 5 live coaching sessions. That 5 sessions is compulsory. It's part of the program. If the student wants more than the 5, the extra sessions will be for their own account. But the 5 sessions is compulsory so that we can support the student throughout the program appropriately as well. These are the requirements for them then to be successful as well. Now, we know that many of our young people want to know whether what happens after this. We have a recognition of prior learning arrangement with a university in the UK called University of Lincoln. At successful completion of the Young Minds program, they can apply for that. And if they are successful, they will get entry for the foundational degree at the University of Lincoln in operations management into year one of that program as well. That program is offered as distance learning. And if you need more information, you can contact Samantha, who will be able to assist in providing more information around how to go about that as well. I'm beginning to draw my little session to an end, and maybe if I can get the next slide. So, what are the admission requirements? The maximum age that we allow is age 23. The reason for that is, even though in South Africa the age of youth is up to 35, we don't want youngsters who are having to deal with 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds having to deal with 30-year-olds because of the different developmental stages that they are going through. So unfortunately, we cut it at 23. That still allows, and we have had many participants who've already completed a first degree at the age of 22 and then still feel that they just want to do a program like this. And then we will take them into the program as well. But that's our cut-off age. Then they need an average of 55% for grade 12. I know that there has been some questions around what's the lowest that we can go. So we're looking for that. But what I normally say to parents is put in your application if your child has less than the 55. We will process the application. And then, because there are many different things that we look at. So sometimes if a youngster has less than the 55%, we will set up an interview with the learner and just sort of check in terms of the motivation, where the learner wants, what the learner wants to get out of the program. And by means of doing that, we can still admit a learner who is below the 55% as well. And then obviously there's no specific grade 12 subjects required. So whether they have math or math lit, whether they have science or not, it doesn't matter as long as they've passed grade 12 and they have those kind of marks as well. The application process, we will share the link in the chat, and you will receive an email as well. So if you just keep your eye on the chat right now, my colleagues would make sure that the link is shared in there as well as they've shared some other links earlier on as well. Please then, as part of the application process, if you're going to apply still, please submit the final grade 12 results. We're going to need a copy of the participant and the parent or the sponsor's ID, and we will get back to you in terms of an outcome within 24 to 48 hours. Please remember, this is based on a first come, first served basis, and the applications will only close on the 16th of February 2026 as well. All right. So important, as I'm summarizing what I've shared, the program is supported by an LPF and certified coaches. The children must have a minimum of 5 coaching sessions. They can have more, which will be for their own account. We expect of them to do some job shadowing, which will bring us to that 20 notional hours for the world of work. All assessments, we're talking about the assignments and exams, they need 50% as the pass requirements, and attendance of all classes and activities is compulsory. If I say that, just so that you know, we know that sometimes youngsters want to rewrite some matric exams. So in situations like that, they just need to get the permission from Samantha, who is the program manager. So the minute they've submitted us or provided the exam, etc., they will be excused from class on those days as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I think you're now about ready to ask some questions. But before we get there, maybe I'll hand over to Claire, who will just quickly talk through us around the preliminary program schedule as well. Claire, thank you. Over to you.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kevin, and a warm welcome to all the participants as well. Well, not participants, future participants, as well as their parents this afternoon. I'm just going to quickly go through the program schedule. So we'll kick off semester 1 with the orientation week from the 9th to the 12th of March. And then we'll go into the first learning period that will be from the 16th to the 27th of March. There'll be a short recess from the 28th of March to the 6th of April. And then we'll kick off the next learning period from the 7th of April to the 15th of May. Then we'll do another little bit of a short recess from the 28th of June to the 19th of July. And then we'll go straight into learning period 3, which is also part of your semester 2, which is the 20th of July to the 4th of September. Another recess from the 5th to the 13th of September, and then kick off the last learning period 4, which is the 14th of September to the 23rd of October. And then the final one is 2nd to 4th of November. And as Kevin has indicated, this will all be at on the Stellenbosch University campus, just in the Nielsy, just above the Nielsy, as well. Sorry, my thing is going off. There will be 2 exam weeks. So two exam weeks, and that'll be 1 per semester. And then there'll also be a parent orientation session, which is on the 25th of February, which we encourage all parents to attend. This will be also via Zoom from 4:30 to 5:30. And then just in closure there, the certificate ceremony for the participants will be in December, but that date will still be confirmed. Just some frequently asked questions. I know there's quite a bit of questions in the chat, and we'll get to that as soon as I'm done, but just some very straightforward questions. So as Kevin has also mentioned, no specific grade 12 subjects is required for admission to the program. So whether you've done pure maths or maths lit, we don't take that into consideration, as well as the maximum age for the admission to the program is 23. A minimum average of 55% for your grade 12 results. As mentioned to Kevin as well, once we receive your application and it is below 55, Kevin and myself will have a look at that application, and then we'll make a decision regarding it. The program, as we said, will definitely be hosted at Stellenbosch University campus. And the program is fully face-to-face with a very few remote learning touchpoints. And this is quite important. Attendance of all classes is compulsory, as well as all attendance of classes and activities over the 9-month period is compulsory for every student. And the program does not offer credit exemption towards any undergrad degrees at Stellenbosch. So the program fees for 2026 is 75,000. This is including of VAT. Fees would obviously exclude accommodation, transport, equipment, data that would be needed for the student to do some remote learning as well, and any other personal costs. We do have a partnership with Capitec that would offer credit at a very favorable rate for Stellenbosch students, and that would be put in the chat by one of my colleagues. And the balance of the program, sorry, I've just got something coming up on my screen. So the balance of the program fee is payable by the 27th of February 2026. All right, and that's from my side. Kevin, I can hand over to you and assist you with some of the questions in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Claire. Ladies and gentlemen, yeah, thank you so much for all of that. There's been quite a number of questions, but I think I've been keeping my eye on it now while Claire was speaking, and so sorry, apologies that I was slightly distracted when she handed back to me. I want to quickly deal with just some of the questions that was at the bottom. There was a question around what happens on the schedule where there's gaps. What we are doing, we are running our program on the same dates that the university is running, except for the start of the program. Because, but what that means is we're having the school or the breaks, the university breaks. That's the time that we also will have breaks as well. So that's one of the reasons why you'll find that those are dates that's not on the program. That's just indicating that's the time that they will be on breaks as well. We run one exam in June, one exam in at the end of the year, but we give them a week time to prepare for those exams, so that the exams will be an online exam. They usually do not have to be in Stellenbosch to complete the exam, because we are mindful that sometimes kids are busy with other things as well, and they get a period of time to complete that exam online as well. Right. Then ladies and gentlemen, maybe I would just want to ask my colleagues. I saw the question was asked whether the link for application was shared. I'm not sure. I couldn't see it, but I just want to maybe ask if you can do that. But then also with regards to fees, ladies and gentlemen, yes, there are no funding or bursaries available. But I saw the link for Capitec, because Capitec is prepared to support students with a student loan if they are interested to take that as well. And I've noticed that the link was shared in the chat as well. Good. All right, let's go to the questions. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? If I haven't touched on what you have asked, I see Pedro is asking about the practicalities around finding accommodation in Stellis. Samantha, are you able to maybe just chip in there, please?
Hi, Kevin. Thank you. We will hand out a frequently asked questions flyer to the students, but you can look for accommodation through our NELC estate agent, which is in the NELC. You can try through them, but there is some accommodation like that they can give you, but we will send that information through to you.
Thank you, Samantha. Then also I see Yvonne Middleton, if you want to ask your question.
Hi, good day. Thank you so much. Yeah, I just wanted to know what days are the program offered on the campus? Which days of the week?
Monday to Friday, Monday to Wednesday, apologies. Monday to Wednesday. So they will have
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
That's correct, yeah.
And
on an exceptional case, there might be a Thursday. Just maybe sometimes we want to change things around. But the standard time is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, from 8 o'clock till 1 o'clock every day.
And is there parking facility for the students?
The students will need to do the normal situation like any other student on campus, which is first come, first serve. The earlier they are there, they get parking. If not, but it's not parking that's designated for students. It is just normal parking for any student. It's not like specifically for Young Minds students. No. And there's there are some discs that they need to get if they want to park on campus. Our classes are in the NELC. If you come there early enough, you can park underground in the NELC, but there's a cost to that as well. So early morning, when our classes start, it's usually not that full when our classes start in the morning. So.
Okay, and then sorry, another question. Sorry, I do program facilitation for IMD in Switzerland, so that's why I have a great interest in the program. So I'm also a facilitator for online programs. That's why I'm asking. So the students, I see there's 80 to 90 packs per class.
So if we say per class, we mean the total cohort will be that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can accommodate up to 90 students in the classroom?
Up to 90 we can accommodate, yeah.
Okay, and do the participants also need to bring a laptop for the material whilst they're in class?
They can use any device. It doesn't have to be a laptop. But so the material is uploaded onto our learning hub, and they can access it there. Obviously, we want to save the trees, so we discourage them printing it, but some students still want to print it. But they have it as soft copies on their devices, whether it's an iPad or whether it's a laptop, whether it's their iPhone or a phone, smartphone. Yeah, they can access it from there. Yeah.
Okay, and then I wanted to ask something else now about the modules. Are they released on a weekly basis, or how long are the modules?
So they are released on a weekly basis. In other words, what is due for next week, they will get the previous week.
The previous week, and then they have time to prep for their module up front.
That's why we give them the previous week, so that they can do the reading. If there's reading for them to prepare, etc.
Okay, and I'm sorry I'm asking all these questions because I'm really invested in this. So they have a coach that they will have one-on-one sessions with during the part of the program. Is that to obviously for the assignments, to help with them with the assignments, or is it just in general coaching sessions to see where they need assistance or guidance in the program?
Yeah. It's a life coach that they will get, so it's a qualified coach, and the coach will focus on what it is that they bring to the session. So if it is around their assignments, the coach will spend the session in dealing with that. But remember, the coach is not necessarily a subject matter expert, so the coach wouldn't be able to deal with content-specific things, but the coach will be able to coach them in terms of what they're struggling with. If it is something which is content specific, they are advised to contact the lecturer to talk about those kind of things.
So the participants, obviously there's different faculties involved on the program, and I assume JP, you obviously facilitate the whole program and you work directly with the faculty. I wouldn't presume that the students will have direct access to the faculty, but via you.
They do have direct access to the faculty. They can drop the faculty an email. They can drop the faculty a WhatsApp. Our faculty who works on this program understands that they might be needed for those kind of things. If they struggle to get hold of a faculty, they can obviously sort of ask JP to facilitate and help them to connect. But that's the support that they have on the program.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Thanks.
Great. Abby, may I give you an opportunity? Abby?
Hello, hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right, thank you. Yeah, just a couple of questions as well around admissions. Do you take students from, well, for instance, my son is based in UK, so his results would be a little bit different from what you'd normally, deal with. So what do you do with such students? What do you accept as form of results on their part?
Yeah, no, we do accept. We accept students from all over the world. We have, the Cambridge systems, etc. So we look at their results from what the university allows for access to university studies, and we look at O levels, etc., to make sure that they are on the same. So in other words, what is the equivalent to us, to our NSC, which is our grade 12, which is an NCAP level 4. Yeah, we look at that to admit them.
So your grade 12 is what age? What age is that? Is that the end of high school? What is grade 12 over there?
End of high school, yeah. End of high school.
Is that the upper 6, or is it the age 16? What age is that?
The age 18. On average, our learners at grade 12, they complete grade 12 at age 18.
Okay, all right, that's fine.
So,
and then
I will still recommend apply, and then let me have a look at it, and I'll get back to you. I'll get back to you to say whether you would qualify. Yeah.
All right, and one other thing again, I know you touched on accommodation. I just want to find out how likely is it that they would find a space in the campus? Because I mean, obviously, it's more favorable for them to be in the campus than outside and stuff like that.
Okay, so unfortunately, what we can do is to facilitate or access, giving the information about who they can access in terms of looking for accommodation. But we don't run the accommodation, and it is a difficulty to get. So they won't necessarily get into the university accommodation, but there is what they call private sort of accommodation available on in Stellenbosch and surrounds as well. The best thing to do is for them to, as Samantha said earlier on, to be in touch with the NELC. What is it called, Samantha? NELC.
Okay.
Yeah.
NELC property offices.
Property offices. There you go.
Yeah.
in
Kevin, in the chat now, it is already been put by Chanel Bowers. I'll just copy and paste it and put it back at the bottom.
Okay.
So that it's there as well. Or
Okay.
Chanel, if you can just add it right at the bottom so that it can be reflecting at the bottom, easier to access for the parent.
Yep. And then one last question. Sorry.
No
So
worries.
typically, I've missed in the previous sessions where obviously you may have discussed a lot more in depth. So what do students typically go on to do after they complete the course with you?
It depends, because they would have worked on those kind of things in their coaching sessions as well. So that really just depends on what is it that they set out to want to achieve. Some of them leave with clarity about what they want to go and do after that. And some continue to go into studying at a university. Others continue to discover, this is not what I want to do. I'm not thinking of one example of a young lady that went into fashion after she's done our program, and studying fashion as well. So the aim of the program is not to tell them what to do, but to help them to explore what they are, given their strengths, given their talents, and to help them to arrive at that as well. Most of the time, in my experience, so the kids are coming and they have some ideas of what they want to do, but they're uncertain about what. So through the coaching sessions, etc., they then explore and get a bit more clearer about where they want to go to. Let's say they've had 5 things that they were thinking of, and they kind of arrive at by looking at the pros and cons, and by looking at what is it that they're good at, etc., after they've done the Strength Finder assessment as well. Okay. So like I said, some become entrepreneurs, some go into farming in their family businesses, some go and discover, I want to study this. Some change their degree program from studying science and wanting to go into commerce, all of those kind of things. So yeah. And then some actually discover that they don't want to go to a university. They want to go to a TVET college, and they want to do something in as an artisan, etc.
Okay, that's fantastic. And then what was I going to say? Do they get a chance to do any work experience during the program? Do they actually go to see any companies or any sort of first-hand experience, or it's just No. So that's what I said in the. So if we said that there are 3 days that they are attending class. The other 2 days are days in which they are expected to do that kind of thing. In other words, go and explore, go and get some work experience. We don't place them, but we certainly will help them find places where they can go. So if they come to the LPF or to us and say, I'm interested in getting experience in this, do you know where I can go to? We can help them facilitate that, yeah? But we won't place them. We don't have arrangements with organizations, but we obviously will help them create access where they are interested in doing that.
that is strongly advised that the learners do that. And to that extent, we expect that of them when they come back from the one holiday, that they actually must have done that and submit a report to show that they have done that as well. Okay.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Abby. Anastasia?
Hi, good afternoon, and thank you so much, Kevin, for this presentation. So I lost network right there. Probably somebody might have asked the same question that I'm going to ask. Just a quick one. My child has to rewrite 3 subjects as well for her to be able to be to qualify to enter into the university next year. So I wanted to check, does the Stellenbosch University offer such, or do I need to get a private place for her to do that?
To write the exams?
Yes, to write the matric exam subjects that she didn't do well with.
Yeah. Is she based, are you guys based in Cape Town, or are you based in Joburg?
We're based in Joburg, and obviously we're just going to have to relocate, yeah.
Yeah. Look, the university itself, and I speak under correction here, as far as I know, the university doesn't offer a center where they can write matric exams, but in Stellenbosch themselves, there will be other exam centers that they can write at. So it's really just a matter of having to look at where your child will be during that exam period, and then registering at a center which is the best suited for her. So if she's going to be on holiday, maybe in Joburg, it might be best to register there. If she's going to be in Cape Town during class time, it might be better to register just here as well. But it just depends on where the child wants to register herself for the rewrite of the exams.
All right, thank you. But maybe just while I'm still on the platform, my apologies. Because I think the question I wanted to ask, will she, in the program, should she be able to have time to attend like additional classes in preparation for that? Okay.
Yeah. Look,
thank you.
Like I said, yeah, she should have, but obviously those classes cannot take preference over the classes that she needs to attend. And from that perspective, that's why our classes are only running from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and only from 8 till 1. Okay? So all these other days and the afternoons, that's available to her to actually attend classes as well. Okay. Thanks, Anastasia. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know that we've gone over time. There was maybe just 1 or 2 questions. I think Samantha answered the one, but it's just in terms of the sports. Yeah, I see the question was answered around participating on student activities. Our students will become part of what they call the private students organization. And so in terms of attending orientation and all of those kind of things and activities on campus, the minute they are on campus, they can join that as well. When we have the orientation week, the private students organization and students, they will come to our classes to sort of introduce themselves to the students and help them to know how they can become part and parcel of student life, but they won't be able to represent Stellenbosch University on a representative level. So they will be able to participate in the normal student leagues and those kind of things, but they won't be able to represent the university as in terms of sport and other activities as well. Samantha, maybe you want to just quickly answer the question around the university library access?
With regards to the university library access, we are going to get our student cards. They will be able to enter the library and maybe take out books, but that is all that they will be able to do. They will be able to work on the computers and to research on the computers for books. So yeah, they will be as guests in the library and not degree student, registered as degree students at the library. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yvonne, just to come back to your last question there, are you talking about the detail about the outcomes of the modules? It's a little bit much to put it into this and share it right now, but we can talk about that offline as well, if you don't mind.
Yeah, it's just an overview of the modules and just a summary of the overview.
How it's structured and stuff like that.
Yeah, just like a roadmap of on the cohort. Okay. These are the modules for the cohorts, and just basic summary of the content, what will be covered in that cohort on that specific module.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
We will try and send you that information. All right. Great. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that I've answered all your questions. Thank you to my colleagues for being so prompt in responding in the chat. We've gone 10 minutes over time, and I'm really sorry that I know it's into your family time as well, and we apologize for that, but there were quite a number of questions being asked, and so let's call it a day. I think maybe as we are closing out for today's session, if Chanel can maybe just bring up that last slide so that you could just share the detail of where they can contact either Charmaine on that email address. And if you have any other further inquiries, please contact us on info@sbsed.com or also use that telephone number. And we're looking forward to welcoming your youngster onto the program for 2026. Thank you so much and enjoy your evening.